Boy, can I help you?
Listen up. I'm bringing you the best content to ever exist in the door-to-door industry, from sales, leadership, recruiting, and personal development.
Well, why would I need that?
Because never before have we been able to collaborate with the top experts in their industries, sharing their secrets and techniques on what makes them the best.
Wait, who are you?
I'm your host, Sam Taggart, creator of the DDD Experts and DDD Con. Is there a place we can sit down?
Well, come on in.
We are excited to announce Jordan Belfort, the real Wolf of Wall Street, at D2DCon 2019, January 10th through 12th in Salt Lake City. Register today at d2dcon.com. Come as a team, learn as a team, leave as a team.
All right, everybody, welcome out to Door to Door Podcast. I'm Sam Taggart, your host, and I have a very special guest today, Sherman Dangerfield. What a cool last name.
Thanks, man.
And we're out here and start over. Oh, that's the beauty of me. I'm like, we're out in not Kansas anymore. Glad we didn't do this live.
Yeah, okay. That's
Start over, Christian. Here we go. Yeah, dude, he's the editor guy. Okay, that'll be a fun blooper. We're out.
We're out here. We're out
right
here.
here.
We're out here.
Okay, better intro. Okay. All right, everybody. My name is Sam Taggart, and this is the Door to Door Podcast. And I've got an awesome guest today, Sherman Dangerfield. And really cool name, by the way.
Thanks.
And we are actually going to deep dive into the journey of 11 years in door to door and how you became. He's a regional manager at Fluent Home Security, Home Automation, and has multiple years of experience. And the uniqueness of his story is he's not the guy that just came out the gate swinging, and he actually got sent home his first year. So we're going to kind of talk on this journey of how you became an amazing leader over, several, salespeople, teams. He's on track to do about 7,000 accounts this year, which is a lot of accounts in the alarm space. And that's what merits him as an amazing leader and worthy of Door Podcast. So welcome out to the show. I'm excited to start jamming.
Sweet, yeah.
So a little bit about you in a nutshell. Like, what makes you different? Like, why Sherman? Why are you...
Why am I different?
Yeah, why are you different?
I feel like my journey to get here has been pretty unique as far as where I started from. I was probably the last thing I would never have considered myself anything close to a salesperson growing up. Super shy, super introverted. Worked at like a door factory after my LDS mission. 21 years old, my buddy starts texting me, hey man, I'm out in California here selling pest control. You got to come out here and try it. I made $1,000 last 2 weeks or something like that. This is back in like 2007. And I'm like, wow, that's like double what I'm making. Like, to keep me posted, man. So weeks later, he's hit me up again. Yeah, man, this time I made $1,500 over this 2 weeks. Getting better at this. Anyways, I ended up just literally quitting my job right then. The next day, I packed my stuff up, drove to California, working pest control. I wasn't good. I was really bad. My manager's training was literally like, hey, here's a contract. Why don't you go out and get a couple pest control deals? We're spraying for the bugs. That's basically your pitch. I'm like, okay. I was not very good at all. I sold in 2 months when I was out there probably 75 accounts, which is not very good at pest control.
Yeah,
not good at all.
That's horrible.
That's pretty bad. And so basically, I ended up coming home early that summer.
Going out late and coming home early.
Yeah, not a great start to my door-to-door career. So.
And then you worked for who?
So then I came home to Utah. I ended up getting an hourly plus commission job knocking doors because I was, familiar with it. Got a job as a manager, which I had definitely no management skills. Kind of got thrown into it doing Winder Dairy, which is basically like grocery delivery in Utah.
We need to get them to Door to Door Con. Do they still exist?
They still exist, yeah.
I need to do a podcast with the Winder Dairy guru door to door master.
Yeah, the commission was pretty bad. You made like $50 a deal. So, but did that for 2 months, and I ended up knocking on this guy's door, selling him, a grocery delivery service. Guy named Ryan Alsbach. He was a first line guy. At that time, he was with North Star. sold him, and he ended up kind of selling me on the fact that alarms was kind of the way to go. He had been with Pest, he had done other satellite stuff, and I said, hey, I have nothing else to do. I might as well try it. And
Did the fear, question, did
Yeah.
the fear go through your head, I sucked at Pest, alarms is harder, therefore I will suck even more? Like, did that not go through your head?
I don't know if I was like,
You know what I mean?
thinking
like,
it that way. That much
that equation in my head doesn't add up. It's like,
Yeah.
Pest is easier than alarms. You can sell 3 times as many. So
This guy was a really good recruiter.
Okay,
I'll just put it
I was
that
gonna
way.
say,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna go fail.
He made it so that like it sounded way just so easy.
Oh, you
Yeah.
just walk up, free alarm. It's pretty
Yep,
easy.
that's exactly how I was sold on it. And obviously, did some training with that, and I was not good at that either. And it took me a long time to get my first couple deals.
And how many
And
weeks did it take you, or days?
so I was doing it throughout the preseason. So, I mean, it wasn't consistent knocking or anything like that, but it probably took me a good, I would say 2 weeks of like straight knocking to get my first deal solo. And the deal ended up canceling because
It's typical on your first deal. So if your
Because-
first deal canceled,
Yeah,
it's normal.
it's
It's okay.
pretty
You can
normal.
be a regional over 7,000 accounts one day. Hope to the world, guys. Hope to the world.
So yeah, I ended up canceling because I mistakenly told this lady that she was going to save like 30 out of the $40 a month off of her insurance.
Typical rookie move.
And,
the insurance pays for it.
She
basically.
saved like, $2 or $3 a year or something stupid and canceled on me, got discouraged. But anyways, that first year I ended up going out to Texas with North Star, and I did 108 accounts my first year.
That's way good.
After having a really slow start, honestly. The only thing that I would attribute any of that to is just I worked harder than any of the other people in the office. Like, that's just one thing I've always not had a problem with, is just working like extremely long hours if I needed to.
Yeah, I mean, it's midnight and we're still cranking.
Yeah, still cranking, man. So I had a week. I always tell my reps this. I had a week my first summer. That was probably my make or break week, honestly. Probably in June, and I had a week where I sold 6 accounts, one a day, and every single one of those accounts came after 8:30 p.m.
Wow.
And like, I always tell my reps that, like, you guys that quit at like 8:30, like, you're just not getting everything you can out of the day. And
Dude, I just got a text. It's so funny. So, an old rep of mine, he quit, left the industry, went back just barely this year, and he texted me because he called me discouraged. And he's like, dude, I'm in a slump. I don't want to repeat sucking. Like,
Yep.
I want to fix it. He's like, you inspired me with that phone call. I closed the deal at 9:30.
it's dope.
I would have never knocked at 9:30.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I think the fact that you kind of broke through your own mental barrier, saying, I got a deal every day after 6 or 8:30. That's
Yeah,
huge.
and it helps me now. I mean, now if I'm knocking late and I don't have one, I don't feel any fear at all, because I know that even if I don't get one, it's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. But I know that I'm probably going to get one when I'm knocking late. So I
Well,
knock
you
late.
texted me tonight. You're like, I'm in a deal, and it was 10 o'clock. I mean,
Yeah.
you're like, I'm still in one, helping a guy finish this up. I'm like,
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah, I've been doing this 11 years, and my wife probably hates it, but I get home at 10:30, 11 o'clock every single night in the summertime because I'm out usually working pretty late. So
Cool.
yeah.
So tell me, first year did 108, then kind of the quick version of the journey.
Yeah,
Where you're at now.
ended up next year, came back, brought some of my buddies over, and ended up having an interesting experience where we kind of learned some stuff. We were in Dallas, where actually there was just a ton of alarms in Dallas in general. We ended up learning that a lot of people didn't necessarily switch because of any new equipment or anything like that. I mean, back then we were selling the Honeywell Lynx. We were literally swapping out, Honeywell Lynxes for a Honeywell Lynx keypad. Be like, yeah, let's upgrade your old Pinnacle and we'll give you the same panel, We ended up learning, like, hey, people don't necessarily just switch for that. People switch just because of you being there.
Yeah, you're
So
there.
as long as a deal makes sense, then they're going to switch. So we ended up learning, like, hey, people don't even necessarily even need like a new panel to switch. Like, if they're happy with what you're doing, maybe getting them a little bit better rate or something like that. So we kind of branched out on that. We ended up doing our own company on the side, a couple buddies and I. And anyways, it wasn't a real thing. It was kind of a hobby, just doing like in-house accounts here and there. Like, at first we would just give out like, oh yeah, $20 a month. We'll reprogram you and we'll do month to month, all this stuff. And we thought that's what you had to do to get deals, and it was actually like pretty hard. Giving it away was like super hard. So anyways, we ended up doing Apex for a couple years, went to Alaska, awesome experience. Turns out they don't like you when you're selling, your company, two companies at the same time.
So you don't want them. What about these guys?
Yeah. So eventually got asked to leave, and it was actually really good. It was one of the best things that's ever happened to me in 2011. Got asked to leave the office because I was doing both companies, and ended up moving to Denver by myself, an extended stay. And the rest of the summer, July and August, I sold and installed my own deals for
Chaz Parks, hashtag.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'll give him some love.
But yeah, honestly, one of the biggest accomplishments I've had even today, to this day, is on a Saturday I sold and installed 6 of my own deals on a Saturday.
6 is a big day, let alone
and
installing.
I installed them, yeah. So I would
I
really
count that as a 12-day.
Hey, I'll take it as a 12-day. It was a long day.
Hashtag 12-day alarm.
I think I finished up at like 10:30 or something like that. But it was a really good. It was like a really interesting experience because I was by myself. Didn't have any. My buddies were all still, selling with Apex or Vivint, I guess it was then. Anyways, the next year we ended up obviously doing our business. That year we did 1,000 accounts. The next year we ended up being the 3rd largest security networks dealer in 2013.
That's big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was in the heyday of security networks.
Oh yeah, so it went Vision, Elite, and then us. We're the top 3 at that year. We did quite a few accounts. Looking back at it, it wasn't even that many accounts, but still, for owning your own business at like 25 or 26 years old, it was a lot of accounts, a lot of revenue we were making. It was really awesome. Learning, just having no business experience, just all of a sudden we're flowing $3.5 million through our business. We're just like, wow, this is insane. And anyways, we got overconfident, definitely. Made some pretty bad mistakes on guys that we brought on the next year just because we thought, oh man, we can't be touched. Made some bad mistakes, ended up actually losing a lot of dudes, like probably half the reps we had, we ended up losing. And anyways, basically...
Can I dive into that?
Yeah.
What is the bad mistakes to not make?
Guys that were just unproven, that wanted kind of the world given to them.
Okay.
Over quality guys, we just were looking for quantity of guys, and ended up being a lot of them just cancers that ended up ruining the good guys that we did already have, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's something to speak to. I think there's a lot of people that just, oh, you have a pulse? It's so funny. I'm not going to say any names, but I'm with a guy today who worked for, I'm not going to say any names, but anyway, so a company I'm consulting, he comes out, and we were chatting about a guy that got fired from his company because he stole literally TVs, pawned off this stuff to a pawn shop. The pawn shop pressed charges, the sales company didn't press charges. Come to find out, a few months later, he owes them thousands of dollars in sign-on money that he took.
Oh, no.
Never fulfilled.
Yep.
Coming to find out, he's now there working there and totally just chill. And it's like, wait, how do you rehire this dude that stole from you, owes you tons of money? Maybe their only hope is maybe he'll sell some deals for us and pay us back. But but I just think it's crazy, some of this stuff. So I mean, from your experience, I guess the principle would be, if you had to sum that principle up, what would you call that?
Don't just go off of what guys are telling you that they can do. We definitely learned that in the industry, you definitely have to verify information, even if it means
salesblacklist.com hashtag. No,
yeah.
Keep going. But
even if it means tipping off their old company that they're getting recruited, it's definitely worth it because we've avoided a lot of mistakes since then because of that learning experience.
How many times do people come to you and say, oh yeah, I did 150, I need XYZ, I should be getting paid X?
It happens probably every 2 weeks. We get hit up by a guy, and the way I look at it on online recruiting, unfortunately, is what I tell guys is they're guilty until proven innocent as far as what they're capable of doing in the door-to-door space, just because there's some bad apples out there. So unfortunately, that's kind of what it's become with online guys that are just reaching out to us. But I think it was...
When you're desperate for money, I need this money now. You need to pay me by Friday. It's you obviously are broke. Therefore, you obviously suck because you did something to not make money.
Yeah, I just sold 250 accounts this year, but I didn't get a back end. I got kind of screwed, so I do need the money right now.
Yeah, I'm what are you doing? You obviously didn't sell 250 accounts.
So that's unfortunate, like the bad side of the industry. But
that's why I created Sales Blacklist, dude.
Yeah.
There's people, I get an email probably every other day.
Really?
New person's added to the blacklist.
Really?
Keep it coming.
Wow, that's actually
Put them
really
on. Go check it out, dude. It's fun. And it's only worth like what the community makes of it, right? The more people that people actually say, this dude owes me money, this dude sucks, like, please don't. Like, it's not that you're saying don't hire him, it's just simply, this guy screwed me by contractually owing me money and left.
Yep.
We need to know about it. I think
Yeah.
it should be something that people are aware of.
Yeah.
You know? And that was what compelled me to create salesblacklist.com.
Yeah.
It's just because I was so sick of what you just said. Like,
Exactly.
I have reps that owe me $30,000, $20,000, and it's
Yeah.
like, it's a lot of freaking money.
I think anybody that's managed for a significant amount of time has a couple guys like that.
Yeah, put them on the blacklist. If you're listening to this, please, like,
Yeah.
go to the salesblacklist.com. Those people need to be aware that they stole money.
Yeah.
It's theft.
Yeah, and it's always justified, right?
Yeah. Oh, but he didn't train me. I had a guy. Oh, but you didn't give me the sets that you said maybe you'd give me. So therefore, I contractually no. I'm sorry. You can justify that all you want. You didn't perform what you said you were going to do. Therefore, you quit. Therefore, you owe money back.
Yep.
Pretty simple. So
Pretty
if you're
simple.
listening to this, I'm going to invite you to, one, go clear up your freaking debts. Can I just say that on a live freaking podcast?
Yeah.
Like,
hey, that's awesome.
make a phone call right now. Like, I just feel compelled to say this. Make a phone call to your previous manager that you effed over and maybe clear up some, just even like baggage or bridges that you burnt. Or it might even not be money. It might just be like you were out of integrity. Please, we're inviting you from two people that have led a lot of salespeople over their time.
Yep.
Go do it now. Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to take you
No,
on this
that's a good tangent.
but
That's a good tangent to go on.
It's a good tangent.
Yeah.
It hasn't been said much on these podcasts, and I'm like sick
Yeah.
of it. So
Yeah. So that kind of taught us, like, I mean, back then that was obviously when we were obviously getting multiples to sell accounts. And so for us, it was just like, oh, we can pay guys this because we're getting paid this. So let's just pay them as much as we possibly can and compete for these top guys. And honestly, we learned that that's really not what builds a really good team. And ultimately, the guys that are really our best reps have been with us forever, have never been that kind of rep. And like that's kind of been our biggest learning experience is culture, building a winning culture and like more than anything, a competitive culture. That's going to drive guys to make the most money, more than like, oh, I get paid this much at this company.
what's your percentage? What's your multiple? What's your?
Yep.
I mean, it's so funny. So,
Whoops.
what's interesting, and if you're listening to this, this is our jam. This is our thread.
Yeah.
Let's just go to it.
Okay.
You were getting paid a multiple as an owner, CEO of a company.
Right.
What pill did you have to swallow to go back to a Fluent?
It was, we ended up meeting with, we ended up just joining as kind of like consultants at first because we had some contractual stuff to deal with that we couldn't do anything right away. Eventually, we ended up joining on as full-time guys, brought our guys over and, have a bunch of teams. And honestly, it was a little difficult at first to understand that, hey, we're going to be making like hundreds of dollars less than we were before on a per deal basis. And like,
But that's stupid.
it's very stupid.
No, don't ever do that. In the long, and that's what so this is the debate that everybody has, right? And this is what we're jamming on people. What's more important, pay scale or culture?
Yeah.
And we're going to kind of play this argument right now, which
Yeah.
is going to be, some of you guys that are listening might comment on here. I want to hear it. I think it's fun. But it's what's more important. And I think, and I'm going to side on your side all day. So we're both on the same side of this argument. So if you're against it, comment. I'd love to hear your side.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
A guy that is super self-disciplined and super self-motivated, that's going to be probably on the other side of it a little bit more.
And we're already the 1%ers of the world.
Right.
They're the 1%ers of the 1%ers.
For sure, yeah. The guys that just go out and can just throw in deals no matter what's going on around them and everything like that. Yeah, all the power to them. But most of our guys, honestly, I've noticed, and we've had a lot of guys that have come from multiple programs, and if they meet with me, the first thing I'm going to tell them right off the bat is, look, hey man, we're not going to beat your deal on a per deal basis. That's just the way it is. But I guarantee you that we're going to make you more overall this year than you made last year.
And what's more important,
Yeah.
What your pay scale says or what your 1099 says?
Exactly. That's what I preach every single day. And honestly, I'm not going to let it say his name, but one of our top guys, 300 plus accounts a year, he was with the multiple program for 10 years with different dealers. Obviously, everybody knows how much that stuff works. He joined us two and a half years ago, and it was a big pill for him to swallow, like big time. Like, well, on paper, I'm taking this huge pay cut to work with you guys.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Like, I need to get paid the same, or, I hear that.
And we said, look, man, your faith in us, I promise you that you're going to make more money. And sure enough, his last year was his first full year with us, and he made $75,000 more than he had ever made before at any other dealer program, despite making less money per sale. And he sold obviously way more than he ever sold before. He didn't have to worry about all the headaches that come with all that, just sub-dealer, dealer culture. And he was actually competing with top guys head to head all year long, and pushed him to sell just a ton more business that way, honestly. And that's a huge thing that we use in recruiting all the time, is our culture will make you make more money. And that's why the Vivint's of the world exists. They're killers, right?
What's more important, your name on a shirt?
Yeah.
Or how many deals are getting thrown in? You know what I mean? It's kind of this.
Yep.
Jim Rohn said, "The fortune is in the follow-up." This is the master of gifting and referrals.
My name's Eric Chandler, and at Cutting Edge Gifting, we want to work with you to implement a gifting and follow-up strategy to turn your clients into raving fans, so that your clients are your advocates in the community when you're not around, so that you can generate more leads, close more business, and have more repeat clients.
So let's dive into the psychology of this real quick.
Okay.
And if you're listening, we're going to kind of touch on this, and then we're going to touch on actual sales psychology. So we're kind of two different topics this podcast, but for now we're going to kind of stick on this thread. But why is that? Like, why does being part of a culture and being part of a winning team and competitiveness equate to more dollars?
Because in the process of working with a team, you ended up kind of being less selfish, I think. And you're working for kind of a bigger cause. And because of that, you kind of forget about your laziness as much, or your, stuff like that. And I think you just ended up competitiveness. If you're just going out in the basketball court and you're just shooting hoops by yourself, are you going to be like super like hardcore and you're just like, no. But if you're going out even with one other dude and you're playing one-on-one, all of a sudden the atmosphere gets more intense. You do 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, all of a sudden it's church ball. Fights are breaking out.
Yeah. It's the difference of me going and doing Beachbody in the basement by myself
100%.
versus my wife actually there with me, and I'm like, oh, fetch, like she's kicking my
Or go into an actual gym and actually joining in like a classroom. It's a ton. You're getting a ton more out of it.
Yeah, dude. You go to a yoga thing and these chicks are just like throwing down on you, and you're like, suck. Like,
yep. Absolutely.
Whatever it is, I think it's this. There's a simple principle.
Yep.
That I don't care what it is, whether it's a sport. Like, it's funny, like I was playing the piano yesterday at my parents', and my sister jumps on the piano, then I start jumping on the piano, and I'm like,
all of a sudden it's competitive.
Yeah, I'm like, bitch, like, why can't I play this? And she just played it, and I'm better than her. And it was the same thing. And it's like, there's a simple breakthrough that happens with the natural competitiveness that comes in us.
100%.
And so, what advice, because it's funny, I interview lots of CEOs, and I interview a lot of entrepreneurs, and I have a lot of people hit me up. Hey man, I'm going to break off into a dealer, I'm going to break off into my thing, like, F these guys, I should be getting paid more. Like, I get a lot of that. What would you tell that guy?
Well, I don't know. I've done literally every job. I've done every job there is to do in alarms. I've installed my jobs. I've published them. I've checked the signals. I've done the data entry. I've done the credit checks. I've sold off accounts in bulk buys. I've sold, deals in manifest purchases. I've done it all. And honestly, there's a lot of headache that you don't think about that actually costs you deals because of all that extra work that you have to do. And if you can focus on what you do best, so what you do best is recruiting. If you're in an atmosphere where you can just recruit, do that.
And there's a culture to recruit too.
Absolutely.
It's like a culture is recruiting. Like say me, I'm like my one man base. Sam starts Sam Alarm. you have a culture winning team doing 7,000 accounts, you're cranking. I'm over here like, hey, come work for my thing, I'll pay you XYZ. You're like, I'm gonna pay you less, but show me guys at Sam's company that are actually cranking.
Yep.
I'm gonna sit there and go, oh yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, but you get paid more. It's like, but show me guys at Sam's company that's cranking. Like that's I think there's a recruiting competitive edge. That comes through that as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off. So
no.
you do culture.
You end up realizing things that are not possible, as unlike a lot of these companies that are just like very pay based. There's not guys that are just throwing down accounts, very rarely. And when you're in a very team atmosphere, guys are putting in 18, 20, 25 deal. We had a guy 2 weeks ago do 31 in a week. Yeah. It's unbelievable. You just don't see that very often in that sort of in the team atmosphere. You definitely see it all the time. So that's kind of our main thing that we recruit on basically is, hey, our culture is going to make you more money overall, and that's honestly what matters. Yeah,
it's huge. So I'm going to ask that question of okay, so you swallowed the pill, you went to the culture, you left the multiple, you said, okay, I'm going to trust this process. Has it paid off? Have you made more money?
Well, our deal is a lot different. It's a lot more kind of back end based, and we're all in and with Fluent. So we are literally in until it sells. And so at that point, absolutely, there is no question.
So it's kind of like let's hook my wagon and play the long game.
Yep. So that's a lot of our guys, man. They've been with us for almost eight years at this point, and that's what as far as building a team. The main thing that I think is super important is just staying as loyal as you possibly can to your best guys, and they will be loyal to you.
Let's speak on that. I'm working for Joe Schmo right now, and I want to create this winning team culture. I don't have the guys that are throwing down 300, 400, whatever. How do I start that? Because I'm assuming that wasn't always your culture within your own organization, we'll call it. So how do you kind of develop and nurture and cultivate that culture? What are some good key points as a leader?
When I would say on recruiting guys as a manager, don't recruit them for, hey, come out this summer with us. Hey, we want to build something with you for the next 3 or 4 years. If that makes sense for you, let's do that, because then the long play is what their mind is at. So every little setback's not going to affect them too much. They're going to be in it, kind of geared in for the long haul. And so a lot of our guys have been with us for that long, kind of for that reason, I think, because they just feel like, hey, we're loyal to them. And it starts from the top. None of us, they all know that literally none of us are going anywhere. And I think that's one thing that a lot of guys don't have with their managers maybe.
They're nervous that they might be at one company one year, the next company another year. They're
because that's what their traits have been.
Yeah.
And our traits is, besides, basically kind of merging our group with this other group, we've been on the same program essentially for the last 7 or 8 years. Guys don't have that fear with us. They know that we're going to be here, and we've had a lot of guys that end up leaving, going to do something else, and most of them will end up coming right back because they realize, oh man, I was making way more money with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge. No, and I think that a lot of people might fight us on this conversation.
I'm sure.
I think it's something to be said because I preach that and I see a lot of guys leave a great thing. I had a guy today text me. I always get hit up. Anyway, he's like, hey man, I just got called to go do something in Florida. Should I take it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you are part of a great team right now.
Yeah.
Stay loyal. You've been in sales for a month and a half, dude. It's your first year. Maybe after 3 years of proving yourself and you've then come to the conclusion that you're at a dead end, maybe at that point entertain that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even I'd put the freaking blinders on, stop taking the baits, and just go work.
The guys that are the most successful are the guys that have burned the ships.
That have burned the ships and just put the blinders on and said, I'm sticking with this. And they've weathered the stinking recruiting temptational storms, the DMs that keep getting sent to them on Facebook, whatever. Hey, guys, come over. Have you seen our pay? It's just put it's so funny. So I did a vlog. Nobody will see this. I don't know which one will come out first. But anyway.
A vlog, okay.
I've started this vlog, and it was how is Disneyland the same as door to door?
Oh gosh, I saw a couple of these.
Did you see? So mine was Indiana Jones. He's
Okay.
always chasing the golden shiny object, just like pay scales.
Oh my gosh.
He's the pay scale chaser. He just
I'm
won't
sure your
stop.
family loved this.
Oh, it was so funny. Tarzan. He's that smelly rep you never want to bunk with on a preseason trip.
Oh, yeah.
He's the awkward. It's like I just did all these different comparisons. It was funny. Sorry.
No, that's a good tangent.
Anyway, but so I just think I'm glad you spoke to that because I think it's something I just think it's an important topic. But
Yeah, and we've proven it like over and over again with guys that are with us that came from that program, that are on our program, that make a heck of a lot more money than they did before, despite on paper taking a pay cut.
A spreadsheet tells them.
Yeah, a spreadsheet tells them otherwise, but in real life, that's just not how it is.
Yeah. No, it's so true. Like I mean, people bashed on me all the time. It's like, how much do you make at Vivint? I'm like, I made a hell of a lot more than the guys on multiples.
Yeah,
Had
exactly.
Awesome teams, awesome production. You
Yep.
know, it's
It's like in like sports, you want to be a good team, a good player, bad team stats guy, or do you want to be a good player on a good team?
yeah.
Because that's ultimately where you're going to make the most money. You know, you're going to have the best experience. It's a lot more fun.
It's way more fulfilling.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Let's move on to more of the sales side.
Okay.
So selling, you had to kind of master, you had to play the whole like, how do I consciously become a good sales guy? Where we were joking, it's like, hey, did you sell today? You're like, of course, I haven't bageled this whole year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you get to that point where when you're a top performer, I think a lot of people don't realize, like, it's just kind of like, of course.
It's not even in the back of your mind that you're
Yeah,
going
it's
to
like-
potentially not sell that day.
Yeah, it's like it's a guarantee. I put my shoes. Like it was funny. Josh Sutherland's podcast. He's like, I put my shoes on.
Brush my teeth. I'm going to
brush
sell
my
some
teeth.
alarms.
I'm gonna sell deals today.
Yep.
So how do you get to that point? I guess.
It took me a lot of work, honestly. I was not a natural salesperson at all, and I feel like I'm 100% self-taught because so I was big Zig Ziglar, all the CDs. My first year, every day I would listen to a Ziglar. This is back when CDs were a thing. that's how long I've been doing this for. So I had all the Zig Ziglar CDs. I had all the Brian Tracy CDs, and I would listen to them every single day. Literally.
It's so fun to see DDDCon virtual with Brian Tracy.
Yeah, that's
I got
pretty
to talk
awesome.
to him for like 30 minutes.
That's
and,
pretty awesome.
He's like the OG. He's getting old, dude.
He's getting older, but yeah, him and Zig were my main guys that I learned everything from, honestly. The way I talk to people, the way I question-based selling, just skills that back then the company that I worked for, I didn't have great training, so it was 100% on me to learn it all. Nowadays, guys have unbelievable training. So like these guys should be way better than any of us were because they just have access to all these videos, all these recordings that just didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
So, but as far as being self-taught, I mean, I think that that's the best way to go. A lot of guys want to be like, oh, I want to knock with you for like a week or two straight. I want to learn everything there is to learn.
I'm struggling today. Can I knock with you?
Yeah, and honestly, the way I learned, the way that all the best guys learned is they got thrown out at it, and they learned themselves.
So I'm reading a book called Grit right now.
Yep.
And they talked about that. They
Yep.
did a study. They said it's a spelling bee challenge.
Okay.
And have you read the book by Angela Duckworth?
I know about it. I haven't read the book though.
So she talks about that. She goes, we wanted to study the champions of these spelling bee tournaments, and they studied 3 different ways. They had their, they did like crossword puzzles and challenges that way. They did like, hey, do a quiz, like flashcard me. And then the third one is you're sitting in a room in solitary, reading a dictionary and like writing things out and like more just like you diving. And she's like, the people that spent more time studying by themselves in solitary and actually having to spend focused time mastering that spelling bee, the champ, like those are the people that won.
Really?
Yeah, it
I
was
like that.
interesting because I was like, wow, because I think a lot of people want to rely on the crossword puzzle will teach me.
Yep.
The guy that's quizzing me, I'll naturally just learn.
Yep.
No, I had to take my own personal solitary time. And they quoted Kevin Durant. They said, Kevin Durant spends 70% by himself. 70% of his practice is by himself in the gym.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's pretty interesting. Sorry.
No, that's awesome. So I feel like I definitely was that type of learner. I'm pretty like introverted by nature, I would say. I'm not a social person. I'm not like out there on like social media, like flaunting my stuff with recruiting and stuff like that. I'm pretty reserved. But the way I learned was just cranking out these CDs, cranking out all the books. Those were I read all the books and the CDs, and then every single day that I would bagel, I would have to write my pitch down word for word with a pen on a piece of paper, the entire pitch, beginning of the day and the end of the day, every single day. And because I knew that if I wasn't selling, I was doing something wrong with the pitch. And so I just eventually was able to get to the point that I was able to be consistent. That took, honestly, half the summer probably. Like, I think I sold in May, my first year, 12 maybe less, and ended the summer with 108 still. So like, just because you start slow does not mean you're going to finish slow. It's all about what you put into it. That's why selling is not a talent, it's a skill for sure. There's no question about it. Like,
there's so many people that want to argue that.
Yeah, and I will argue with them all day.
Yeah.
If anybody that knew me when I was younger, before I did this job, they would have never guessed I would probably have ever made this job at all. And it's only because of work ethic, and I put a lot of extra stuff into it that other people just didn't.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to succeed at it.
That's awesome. So let's dive into some of the interesting sales tactics that you found. Okay. That you've mastered, or how to sell, the secrets of selling like a bad A, we'll call this. So what are some of the principles that you train your guys on to help them be?
Couple big things that I'd like to sell my guy or train my guys on are, when you're selling somebody, I don't like the person to ever be forced to be feeling that they're making a decision. I want the whole sale to feel so assumptive that all they're really ever doing is answering my questions. They're not really having to decide yes or no. It's just assumed that the answer is going to be yes, and it's not whether or not am I doing this today. It's whether or not, no, how are you going to be called on this? Are you going to be called on this phone or this phone? And if you sell like that, because a lot of guys are like, yeah, they want to think about it. They want a business card. And the reason they're doing that is because you're not giving them the urgency, and you're also basically putting them on a fence where they have to decide one way or the other. And you don't want those hard closes.
You've made the decision for them.
Oh, absolutely.
Already talking to them.
Oh, yeah.
It's not if you're going to do this today, it's how you're going to do this today.
Yep.
We're going to do this with system here, here, and here, or we're going to do this with system here and here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or, are we going to do this?
And a lot of reps want to get into these, like, not necessarily arguments, but they want to get into these discussions with customers, and then they want to get into a convincing battle. You should do this because of X, X, and X. That's never the discussion with how I train my guys. Like, that's not part of your sale. If you're trying to convince them why yours is better, then you're not selling them. You're just like you're just arguing with them, and you're not going to actually close them. They're just going to want to think about it and think about
defend their own argument in like their own time, or their pride is going to kick in, and they're going to say,
it's the customer who says, oh, Sam, your presentation was awesome.
I love those people. You're a great salesman.
Tell you what, leave your business card. We'll think about it. Yeah. You don't. Those are you did a bad job when you get that. So like, if I'm getting an objection and I feel it coming, I'm just so assumptive. Like, well, yeah, we're doing this for you. Like I mentioned, as far as the way it sounds, does it call your cell phone first? And they're just like so blown away by your assumptiveness and everything that they feel confident. They're buying your confidence, and if you're confident on what you're doing, they're going to buy. That's just 100%. The way it is. Like, cool. There's never, and if you don't make it a big deal. If you make it a big decision, they're going to feel it's a big decision, right? Like, it's just not a big deal. They're getting an alarm system. People do way crazier stuff. They spend way more money doing other stupid things.
Yeah, like today, I literally, like, this company was like, you can't sell a solar system same day. Like, people have told me that all the time, and I've like mastered the same day. I consult a company out of Massachusetts, and they'd never done a same day. Their whole company.
Really?
Now, like, they're all same day. And I'm like, let me teach you how to do it. Because, like, you can't sell a $30,000 system same day. Not today. I'm like, let me show you. And within an hour, the guy's like, signing up for a $30,000 loan.
Yep.
It's like, I'm like, yeah, he's paying for energy, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
You're just getting energy, like, a different way.
All you're doing is you're just presenting them with the problem they didn't know they had, and then you're giving them the immediate solution to that.
I'm here. That's why I'm here. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, you just assume that they called you out to their house, and that's what when I'm in their house, that's my office. And I feel so comfortable in their house. I feel like I'm just walking around, doing my own thing. I'm telling them to go get the voided check. I'm kind of just directing around their own house, and they feel like okay with it because I'm so confident about it.
Love that.
Like, I'm not necessarily the most confident person in general, but in a house, once I get in the door or on the porch, I'm a different person.
Office, like, this is my domain. It's my jam.
Oh yeah.
It's like, you don't even know what's about to hit you. That's like my favorite thing to think. Like, you don't even know what's coming. You don't even know who I am.
My favorite is when it's 9 o'clock at night, They're just like sitting there and they have no idea a technician is about to stop by in the next 20 minutes.
Yes.
And they're going to be there for a couple hours and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, we gotta go. Like dude, it is late. It's 9:30, man. You're still out here? Like, and
yeah,
text on your way. It's like, wait, who's at my door?
This is happening tonight.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. And you have to say it with confidence. You're like, yeah, of course they're doing it tonight.
Yeah, he's just in the neighbors.
How else would they
He's
do
going to
that?
come by right now. Yeah, of course.
It's completely normal. We're same thing. This,
Yeah.
duh. So, okay, next step. Like, what other cool sales tip would you give to any salesperson, I guess?
I don't know if it's unique to what we do, but maybe my name for it is different. I call it intentionally misunderstanding somebody. So if you're giving me an objection that is intended to get me either out of the house or off the porch, a lot of times I'm going to intentionally misunderstand that. And people generally would rather feel like wrong than awkward. That's just the way it is. Like they would rather not have to correct you. And so like I'll be in a house and like, well, yeah, we're just sitting down for dinner right now. I'll be like, oh, no, that's fine. I already ate. Thank you so much. So I'll just be really over here in the corner. I'll be really quiet though. I promise. Or hey, we're putting the kids to bed right now. Oh, yeah, I'm super good with kids when they're going to bed. I have 2 kids of my own. I'm gonna go sit in the corner. I'll be really quiet, okay? So like,
Yeah, and they're like,
well, okay.
How do you
and they just end up like being like, okay, we'll just let him stay, I guess. And
Yeah.
you know, once you're in the house, you're the vampire, and you're getting the sale.
it's a good point. I hope all the customers are listening to this too. But no, I think I want to kind of jam on that. I called it, my salespeople that worked for me would always say, Sam, you were the master at playing dumb.
Oh yeah.
Like you were the dumbest, but like smartest dumb person. And I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
And it's just like, or like they'd say an objection, and they'd be like, well, dude, like I'm not like we were just not gonna do it right now, and they get all frustrated. I'm what do you mean?
This hasn't really
Like,
happened. I've never really had this
yeah,
happen to me
like,
before. What's going on?
Like, I might need to call my manager. Like, I don't know what to do in these situations. Like, what? Okay, maybe I didn't explain myself right. You know what I mean? I play the stupidest. I put that face on.
Yeah.
Kind of like. And then a lot of times they start to they second guess themselves for saying it. They're
Yeah.
like, did I say something wrong?
Like maybe we should do this today.
Yeah, they're like, yeah. You make them doubt their doubts, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of like,
Yeah.
did I say something? You're like,
It's a really good tactic to use.
or they're like, oh, we just can't afford it. I'm like, what? No. I don't think you. Like, what?
No, you didn't see all the zeros?
You didn't see? Yeah. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, no. We're not talking about affording something. We're talking about, you like kind of like.
Yeah, like the Jordan Williams thing back on the Apex videos was, it's not a matter of if you want it. Everybody wants it. It's a matter of if you qualify for it.
Yeah, it's kind of
like, you obviously want it. Everybody in the neighborhood wants it. Obviously you do too.
Yeah, I love, and then they start to like doubt their doubt because you're almost like so confused, and they're like, why is he so confused? Like, I just said an objection, but he didn't like get it. Should I say it again, or would that make me look like a dummy?
Yeah, we're not like, they're not interested on the porch is what a lot of the first years. Oh my gosh, they just keep saying they're not interested. Yeah, you don't hear those objections.
You don't hear them. You're like,
oh, perfect. Yeah, so you said that you've been here for a while, right?
Yeah, you should take them somewhere else. I'm just not interested. No. Like I said, I was saying, like you have the door sensor right there. You know what I mean? And you're like,
was it the beige or the white one though?
Yeah, like
it's right there, right? Okay,
it's over here.
I'll just show you really quick.
I call it this like selective hearing sometimes.
Oh yeah.
It's this selective. It's like I didn't hear that.
But the second you hear any sort of yes, you're all you hear it
the
faintest.
Wait. Yeah, it's just like it's not even a yes. It's just a buying sign.
Yeah.
It's just they gave me a hint of hope now. Finally, you opened up, you cracked the window of hope.
Yep, and then you're in it, you're not coming out.
You gave me a little room, man. Sorry, it's over now.
Absolutely.
And I think it's with experience and with time, you start to know when they gave you that room.
Yep.
There's like, maybe it's 5 minutes in, maybe it's 10 minutes in, maybe it's first minute, they finally go, boom, I'm a little open, and you're like, there's my window.
Yep.
I'm in. And I think I only think experience will give you that knowledge of where is my windows.
Yeah.
And
there's no question. The only way you get experience is just working your butt off. Like work until as late as you possibly can every single day. That's why I liked Alaska so much, because we could literally work. We were working so late, man, and like people would not care.
And you knock on a door at 11?
Oh yeah, during the Cup back in 2010, I remember knocking a door at 10:30, surveying at like 10:45. It was a quick deal, and tech was there at 11.
That's awesome.
And yeah, same day. Heck yeah.
Love
And it was light outside, you know.
Yeah,
That
you're
was
still like-
Fairbanks, Alaska, man. It was awesome.
Might have to go there.
It's
Yeah.
a rad place to work.
Well, any other advice? I mean, I always asked at the last part of the podcast, like, what would be one piece of advice you'd give the door-to-door space? You know, you're speaking to the door-to-door tribe right
Yeah.
here.
I would just speak to like a lot of the new guys, like, do not give up, because it may seem like right now sucks, and it probably does suck, but all of us, most of us, not Sam, you sold right away.
I was a weird one, and everybody hates me for it, but whatever.
But I would just recommend do not give up, no matter if guys, it just depends. Some guys will click at a week, sometimes some guys will click at like 4 months, and all of a sudden they just have it. If you put enough time and effort into it, you will click.
I mean, you technically didn't click for your first year.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll call it like pest control's easy, but you sucked.
Yeah, I was terrible.
So, you know what I mean? And I think, but those hours on the doors with Winder Dairy Pest only helped season you.
Yep.
So I don't think it's fair to say like your true first year you did 100, because it's like, well, technically you had your...
But also when I started doing alarms, right out of the gate, my mindset was, okay, I'm going to do this for at least 3 years.
Which probably helped you commit stronger.
But definitely, like if guys are looking to do it for a summer, the commitment is going to be like very waning all the time, because the second anything hard happens,
It's almost over.
It's just a summer job. Like there's like 5 weeks left, man. It's not a big deal. But if you really are like committed to this for 3, 4 years or 5 years, which I would recommend, you're going to be all in, man. And you're going to be studying all the time, because you know this is your career, mini career for the next few years.
I knock doors, baby.
Oh yeah.
The tribe. No, but I think it's so cool. Like, you know, you were at door-to-door con. Like,
yeah.
What feeling was that? Just standing in a room of 1,000 door knockers.
It was cool, man. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a cool energy of guys like that can do the same thing that you can do.
Yeah.
You know, that it's very, very rare that people can do that. That's people that have stuck through it and have made an awesome living at it, not just a couple bucks here.
And a lot of people at door-to-door con, there were some studs.
Oh yeah, there were some awesome speakers and just guys that were there attending. It was awesome.
It's just fun to rub shoulders against like the greats, and it's like...
It only just makes you better. I mean, you know, if you're associating yourself with the best, you're going to become better yourself, you know.
100%. Cool. Well, you heard it firsthand. You guys are awesome. Appreciate your time, man. This was really fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks.